Hi students, my name is N. Srinivasarao, Sri Chaitanya Zoology faculty. As a part of chapters at a glance, we are going through today with biodiversity and conservation. So this biodiversity and conservation is the one which is having the value of 3 questions on an average from 2013 onwards till 2025. If you take that one, it is on an average it is 3 questions, sometimes 4 questions, sometimes 2 questions, but on average we are going with the 3 questions per year, right? So of this one, we are the ones which are having the division wise. If you take previous years 2013 to 25, biodiversity part 32 questions and biodiversity conservation part itself is 30 questions. So now you can understand what is the importance related to this chapter given in the previous NEET examination, and no part of this one is deleted, but the other because you may aware of that one, some of the chapters when compared to earlier book it has been deleted. Okay, right now I am going to display the textbook part directly, the PDF part of the NCERT, and we will go through that one. So I hope you are able to observe this one, biodiversity conservation, and within this biodiversity conservation, as you can see, lot of this information. So whatever this information right now is there, this is only just an introduction, and as you know the word diversity, and this diversity here it is related with the living organisms, thereby biodiversity word. So now within this biodiversity, if you take this one, who gave this one, that is a little bit more important, one important area in which you can cover here. It is the one which is what we say Edward Wilson, the scientist named Edward Wilson. He is the person who popularized, technically speaking it has not kind, has popularized the term the biodiversity. So that's one area where you can see that one. So now we are going to the next part of this one. Within this you can see biodiversity at the different levels, as you can see. So biodiversity is the one where you see which is more of the most important ones. If you see genetic diversity, so genetic diversity means only single gene. At the gene level we are saying, genetic level we are seeing that one, means genus is there, species is there, within the species same plant different way product, that is the one which is genetic diversity. Here they gave Rauwolfia vomitoria, and this Rauwolfia vomitoria and the chemical which you are taking, the reserpine. So an interesting point here, do you know what is the reserpine is given as a part of this, they said active chemical for which disease it can be given. So have a guess, that's nothing but hypertension, right? So then where is the difference here? In terms of the potency, the difference is there, right? And here India has whatever the differences regarding the genetic diversity they gave, not to be much concentration within short time. Species diversity is another level. So species diversity within India, if you see, Western Ghats are the ones which are having highest amphibian species, means more species diversity regarding amphibians is there with the Western Ghats. Eastern Ghats are not having that one. Sorry. Ecological diversity is another one. Ecological diversity is the one which is at the ecosystem level. So at the ecosystem level within India, if you observe, there are the ones deserts, rainforest, mangroves, coral reef, wetland, estuaries, alpine meadows. See, entire India if you take into account, this one will be coming. Whereas within one area, every state need not have this one, whole India is applicable, right? So the next, how many species there on earth? Now this is the question, how many species are there on earth? And how many are there in India? As you can see, it is the one IUCN 2004. They have made that one total number of plant and animal species described is slightly more than 1.5 billion, but we have no clear idea how many species are yet to be discovered. That's very thing common. And here you can see species inventories are more complete in temperate than the tropical. So temperate and tropical, if you compare, in the temperate it is more completed, just a simple reason, temperate region have less diversity. If it is less diversity, we can study within the less span of time because species number is less there. Obviously, opposite one, if you take tropical areas are the ones which are having more, what we say, number of species. However, in this entire, why we are going to be, some people have estimated that one it can be 20 to 50 million, but more appropriate one, Robert May, that person's appropriate as about 7 million entire, this is the global species. So the global species diversity which was given by the Robert May as about 7 million is more valid point. So this is a simple Venn diagram type, and within this one you can understand among animals 70% of this one is the one among animals, most species, which one more than 70% of the total, which one? Insects. So based upon this one simple words, out of every 10 animals 7 are insects. So thereby you can understand how much enormous diversity we can see this one. And interestingly, if you are able to recall, earlier in the kingdom Animalia topic we came across Arthropoda is with the highest number of species, and it is the first largest phylum in the terms of species, as you can see here. And in this area you can see right now this pie diagram model where number of species everything given, it is it is evident on its own. Among vertebrates, among invertebrates, among the plants, whatever given here, this is the one which you are going to take into account. But if you see here, angiosperms and fungi are almost seems to be equal, but the first position will be given only for angiosperms. If anybody say whether angiosperms or fungi almost seems to be equal, which one will be more means, obviously we have to choose angiosperms with the present day knowledge whatever you are having. However, in the number of species we have not, it is the problem is here the estimates do not give any information about any figures for prokaryotes. Why prokaryotes are not given? There are limitations as mentioned here. So one is conventional taxonomic methods, they are not suitable. Conventional taxonomic methods are not suitable. Okay. And because another one is they are not simply culturable, in the laboratory. Without culturing in the laboratory, studying up all this one is another one. And another limitation here it is, if we accept biochemical or molecular criteria, then this diversity itself alone might run into millions. So these are the limitations to take into account of diversity present, the diversity occurring in the prokaryotes, which we cannot deal with that one. So the remaining all the data, whatever Robert May everybody is estimated, it is applicable only to eukaryotes, right. Here interestingly 2.4% of the world's land area of India, but amazingly we have 8.1% of the species, global species, we are having 8.1%. Means 2.4% area is accommodating so many number of species, and here everything from this paragraph is basically data. So since the data is almost self-explanative, not to be much explanation is required, you can study that one. For example, in this area if you take, right, 12 mega biodiversity countries. So of these 12 mega biodiversity countries, India is the one, and accept May's global estimates only 22%. So this point is interesting, 22% of the total have been recorded so far. So concentrate on that one. We have selected, we have studied only this much. And in India, whatever the species number of this one is given here. So that is only a factual data, not to be taught, or else means in this glance we need not concentrate much on that one. Now again a question is coming, what are the patterns that are there in the biodiversity? So the patterns that are there in the biodiversity, this is an important area. One such one is latitudinal gradient. So if you take the latitudinal gradient, I will a little bit slightly enlarging this one. So, if you take the latitudinal gradients, in general species, this point have a notice, diversity decreases as we move away from the equator toward the poles. But highest range can be noticed from this area to this area. So, if you take a rough within this one, equator 23.5 degrees north and south, so 23.5 and degrees, that is the north side, this is south side, then obviously within this given area only the highest number of species are recorded. So, that is the one, and accordingly based upon the location, Columbia, all this one you can take for this area, right. However, highest amount of diversity, tropical Amazon rainforest, so has the greatest biodiversity on earth itself. Now you can imagine where is this tropical Amazon rainforest is locating is, this will fall within this region only, that will fall within this entire region only, that tropical Amazon rainforest will fall in, and automatically that is the one where you have to remember that number statement number wise. Now a question will arising, what is so special about tropics? Because the highest biodiversity is here, and based upon this one 2-3 times previous NEET questions were there. One such one is speciation is generally a function of time. So, function of time means a lot of time was available for this tropical region. It has not experienced any glaciation. That is one reason. And another one is temperate regions are subject, here they have mentioned, temperate regions are subjected to frequent. I repeat, temperate regions subjected to frequency of glaciations. But this glaciation not occurred here. There were lot of evolutionary time is available. Okay. And another one, tropical environments, these tropical are less seasonal. So, if they are less seasonal means automatically more constant, and such a constant environment promote niche. So, once a niche specialization is there, automatically it will lead to greater species diversity. That is second reason. Now, the third reason, more solar energy is available. The more the solar energy is available, the higher the productivity. So, the higher the productivity, automatically contributing indirectly to greater diversity. So, all the latitudes are not having equal thing in this area. Now, the next within this species area relationship, so within this one NEET point of view, not much of a question so far. Species area relationship, this was given by Alexander von Humboldt. So, where they said this one, log S equal to C plus Z log A, and all this one they have mentioned. So, species richness, slope of the line and y-intercept in indicating regression coefficient. So, based upon this whatever mentioned here, so this line, this is the one if you take on the log scale, observe that point it is on the log scale. So, without the log scale means it is a rectangular hyperbola as mentioned here. So, try to understand that one, if it is the one which is given in the form of log scale, it will become a straight line. So, the slope of the line is indicating species richness in an area. However, whenever increase in the area, the species number will increase enormously, but up to a limit only. It will not increase forever. So, the data, that point you have to notice here clearly, that one. So, the slope of the line is much steeper. If the slope of the line is much steeper, then automatically if you analyze the species area relationships among very large areas like entire continents, you will find that slope of the line is much steeper. For which one? Entire one. And frugivorous, these frugivorous birds are the ones which are more in case of tropical forest. Again, this was the previous NEET question. At a simple logic, because tropical rainforest is the one which is having all the ones which we have discussed earlier, those conditions, and obviously more area is there. So, being tropics one angle, and why the tropics variation we have already seen. So, these are the ones which are a little bit applicable here, and previously in the NEET question this C stands for what, like that one they have asked the question, and everything is self-evident in this area. Now, the next will be importance of biodiversity. So, what is the importance of species diversity? So, every species has a role to play in the ecosystem. So, that is what you have to understand. It may not be visible directly, indirectly also they are helping, and some are not directly visible as our economical benefit. Mind you, every species, though we think that one as a harmful animal, for example, mosquitoes are spreading diseases, but still mosquitoes are helping in controlling population. So, try to recall in the organism and population topic you may have across competition, parasitism, that species, relationships between the different species, and those are all the ones indicating a simple one. Every species has its own role to play a role, right? Now, here, the more the species, it will be a stable community. Then, when you call it as a stable communities, it should not show too much variation in the productivity. If it is showing variation, means it is not a simple stable community, simple words. Okay? And again, it must also be resistant to invasions. By whom? Alien species. So, alien species are coming here, productivity is drastically changing, means that is not a stable community, right? So, how to prove this one? That was given by David Tillman. So, David Tillman, long term experiments, open plots, they are outdoor plots, open plots. He also showed these experiments, increased diversity contributed to higher productivity. Earlier we have studied the same point only, too much productivity, I mean too a stable community will give high productivity. Rich biodiversity is not only essential for ecosystem health, but imperative to the very survival of the race on the planet. This is another one. And observe this one, for our race only it is very much required, because we are so depending on the nature, right? And again there is a Western Ghats point at the beginning of the chapter it is given, and Western Ghats ecosystem is having more number of species, that is what mentioned here. So, they gave that one an analogy with the rivet pauper hypothesis. So, this rivet pauper hypothesis, which was given by Paul Ehrlich. So, he is the person, according to that one, each rivet is a species, and he is comparing to that an aeroplane. So, each rivet is a species, and that is the proper functioning of the ecosystem is an analogy for this one. And if everybody is taking a rivet home, means every species is get destroyed, automatically species diversity will become less, thereby stability of the ecosystem will lose, right? So, loss of rivets on the wings means they are the ones which are key species. So, what are the key species? The key species are those species which are very much required, are playing an important role when compared to the other species in that given ecosystem. For example, in an area, insects are playing a key role, though size wise they not be seems to be so impressive, but insects are playing a key role, because if they are pollinators, we just imagine if there is no pollination, then yield of that one means productivity of that ecosystem will be less. So, key species are the ones which varies from ecosystem to ecosystem. Loss of biodiversity. So, in this loss, why there is a loss of biodiversity? Automatically that question, why there is a loss of biodiversity? Again they are clearly pointing towards human activities. And how many species are getting loss, or in other words becoming extinct? That is given by IUCN Red List. So, they gave all the list whatever happened, and this is the one. Dodo, a bird, became extinct in the Mauritius. And a quagga, this quagga is a zebra, and dodo is obviously a bird. This quagga is a zebra which became in Africa, And thylacine, it is a marsupial in Australia. And Cellar sea cow, obviously it is a mammal in Russia. So, and subspecies, these subspecies of tigers, which are happen to be extinct in Bali, Java and Caspian, and this is indicating how recently these species became extinct. And where there is more number of disappearance of species is occurring is the rapidity in the development it is having that one. But important thing is extinctions across the taxa are not random. They are not random because some species are more vulnerable. For example, amphibians more vulnerable to extinction. So, if you take into this account automatically in the terms of India, Western Ghats are more vulnerable for extinction of amphibian species because amphibian species diversity is more there only, right? And the number of species, how they are get extinct, all that we mentioned here. So, the sixth extinction of species, it is the first one which is going on because earlier they have undergone 5 episodes. The sixth extinction is presently in the progress. But if you observe and compare the 5 episodes of earlier one and now the first one, sixth extinction, at present it is 100 to 1000 times faster than the pre-human times. Because these 5 episodes are the ones which are pre-human times. Now sixth extinction is a higher one again because of human activities only, right? If this will happen, what will happen to the number of species within short span of time, they have mentioned there. Then, as you are able to recall, loss of biodiversity, at the beginning we have studied this one, in a region meet to decline in plant production. Another one is lowered resistance to environmental perturbations such as drought, increased variability in certain ecosystem processes such as plant productivity, water use, pest and disease cycles. All these will be get disturbed. So, as if you have noticed the general things what are going on in the nature at present, the dry situations are coming up in the temperate regions also. So, naturally in that area there is every possibility of developing of mosquitoes and related diseases. Just a clue for understanding this one. Then, what is the cause for biodiversity losses? That is what we say Evil Quartet. So, quartet, as you know, 4 reasons major one. It is only sorbicate. Now, very major important one, the most important one, that is habitat loss and fragmentation. So, habitat loss and fragmentation is the most important cause of driving of animals, right? So, earlier there used to be 4% of the Earth's land surface was covered by tropical rainforest. Now, they are no more than 6%. Now, you can imagine how much area we have disturbed and in the name of development or whatever we call, but how much number of species are becoming extinct one has to understand, and again try to remind every time in the mind, tropical areas is the one which is more diversity than the temperate ones, right? So, the lungs of the planet, Amazon rainforest. So, they are harming probably millions of species because it's as we know, lot of species from that area to be reported. They are the ones which are converted for human purpose because humans are cultivating. They are cultivating what soya beans, all this one. So, naturally they will remove the forest cover. The moment forest cover removed means habitat loss. That is the one point. When large habitats are broken up into small fragments, that is called what we say fragmentation. So, naturally which are going to be much affected is animals with migratory habits are badly affected because of this reason, right. So, which ones are having much migratory habits are mammals as well as birds. Now, you can understand how badly the birds and mammals, other mammals mean here migratory, human beings can migrate with the help of artificial means, but that is not the way for natural animals. So over exploitation is another such reason. So when over exploitation, why this one? Need turns to greed. Needs are fulfilled by the nature, but greed cannot be fulfilled by the nature. So over exploitation result into extinction of these animals, like just now we have seen stellar sea cow already in the Russia, and passenger pigeon. This passenger pigeon is there, happen to be in North America. So in the North America, this became extinct because of over exploitation, right? And at present, which one is there means many marine fish populations. Because again here as mentioned, over harvested, right? Because they are more commercial value means more automatically more exploited. Alien species invasion. So alien species, here you can take two words, endemic. Endemic is nothing but local species, means they are evolved there and they are surviving there only. But alien species means you may call it also exotic species. So alien species are exotic species, and whenever they are the ones which are introduced into some other area, of course by human beings, this will happen. So Nile perch introduced into Lake Victoria in East Africa. It led to the extinction of automatically more than 2000 species of cichlid fish in the lake, right? In the same manner, as far as our country is concerned, Parthenium, lantana bushes, water hyacinth, that's nothing but scientific name Eichhornia, and Clarius gariepinus, which is a catfish, introduced illegal introduction. Try to observe this one, illegal introduction. So naturally it is posing threat to indigenous catfishes, because Clarius gariepinus is also catfish. And try to recall in the organism population, the same point is there. Whenever there is no predator to control them, automatically their population will dominate the other ones. Then co-extinction. Co-extinction means the relationship, again try to recall in the organism population topic, where you came across mutualism. In case of mutualism, if you are able to recall, fig fruit and wasp, highly interrelated species to species. So if a fig species becoming extinct means there is a possibility for wasp, or else a particular wasp species become extinct, a fig will become also extinct because of pollination problem, all this one. That's what we call extinction, co-extinction, right? And in this connection only I gave that one, co-evolved in the plant pollinator mutualism. Just now I have explained this one. So these are the reasons what we call evil quartet. So since this much happened, automatically we have to conserve that one, that's the routine part. So conservation. Why should we conserve the biodiversity? Natural question. Because we are the ones which are selfish people in the terms, because for our survival it's required. Narrowly utilitarian argument. It's only direct economic benefit. Anything you can take from the nature, it's a narrowly utilitarian argument only. So whatever n number of examples you can give, that's why I am not listing on this one. Even including medical importance, try to recall medicinal importance. Earlier, Rauwolfia vomitoria, Reserpine, that's the point here, right? And another one, this is an important. What is bioprospecting? So at present, all the governments are trying to depend on this aspect, including India. Try to recall, India is having area is less, 2.4%, but our having much biodiversity, 8.1%. Thereby, what is bioprospecting is exploring molecular and genetic and species level diversity for products of economic importance, because we want to get more benefit by exploiting the nature. Every country is doing so. So endowed with rich biodiversity can expect reap enormous benefits from that one. And another one is broadly utilitarian. Unlike that of narrow utilitarian, the broadly utilitarian, there is no price tag we can attach to this one. So without the broadly utilitarian means, just imagine earlier we have came across Amazon rainforest is producing 20% of total oxygen on the Earth's atmosphere. If you recall, if this much amount of oxygen is missing, then what will be the fate of all the aerobic animals or aerobic organisms that are living in the world? Can't they become extinct? So there we cannot give a price tag for that one. So where we cannot give directly price tag, that is a point. Okay? Pollination, how much yield we are getting, there is no price tag. Retaining of water, we cannot give a price tag. Like that one, n number of examples we can give here. And some are, see, at least economical benefits are tangible, but there are intangible benefits. So what are the intangible benefits is nature, the aesthetic pleasure, there is no price tag for this one, right? And however, another most one is ethical argument. Ethical argument means every species have their own role, that's why every species have a right, just like human beings have the right to survive, so is the case with the other species, right? And every species has an intrinsic value, we have to understand this one. And everybody has a role that one pass on our biological legacy in good other future generations. That's ethical argument in that angle. Now the question is, how do we conserve the biodiversity? So this conservation is on-site conservation, in-situ conservation. Wherever they are evolved, there only it can be conserved. So in the in-situ conservation, which animals which are very with high risk of extinction in the wild, they should be the one which can be conserved there. So in-situ conservation means automatically what are the other methods for this in-situ conservation is, that is given by creation of what we say biodiversity regions. Biodiversity hotspot, initially 25 and at present the number is there up to 34. As far as India concerned, then which area should be called as a biodiversity hotspot? So they are the ones which are what we call highly species. The hotspot is the one, an area where more endemism, at the same time more extinction is occurring. Endemism is high. Endemism means local P1s. More endemism, at the same time under the threat of extinction, they should be the one which should be get protected. If we are able to protect that region, automatically a lot of species can be protected. So they are the three hotspots which are there in relation to India. One is Western Ghats and Sri Lanka, and another one is Indo-Burma, and another one is Himalaya. So another one what you have to take it as biosphere reserves. Another one is national park and sanctuaries. And of course there is another one is also there, sacred groves. These are all the ones in situ conservation where you can protect this one. And number of national parks are 90, wildlife sanctuaries are 448, and there is slight difference when compared to the summary. And sacred groves are there, Khasi and Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya, Aravalli Hills of Rajasthan, Western Ghats regions of Karnataka, Maharashtra, Sarguja, Chanda, Basar areas of Madhya Pradesh, in Meghalaya. So in Meghalaya, the last refuges for the threatened plants, that is the area wherein conservation. And ex-situ conservation means wherever in-situ is not possible in that area, we are going for ex-situ conservation. Ex-situ conservation is the one which is outside, not where they have naturally evolved in. So one is zoological parks. The other one will be obviously botanical gardens. And other one can be wildlife safari parks. The safari parks are not natural, artificial, we have made that one. So there are animals are shifted in that one. And another one is cryopreservation. So in the cryopreservation, how much temperature is minus 196 degrees centigrade, and with the help of liquid nitrogen it can be done. So with the help of liquid nitrogen we are converting them. We are protecting them. Right? So they can be kept for longer periods in the seed banks. And biodiversity has another one, no political boundaries. We have political boundaries between country and country. So the historic convention on biodiversity, the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. And what is the call they give is conservation of biodiversity and sustainable utilization of its benefits. Right? Again, the follow-up is there in the World Summit. So this World Summit is the one wherein occurred, it is 2002 in Johannesburg. So automatically their aim is reduce the loss at the global as well as local levels. First regional and local levels reduced means loss at the global also can be reduced. So finally there is a reduction in the, that is the one which is the aim, right? Right, as a part of the, as I said earlier, there are so many questions and every year there is going to be 3 questions on an average. So let us go through the questions that are given in the latest years, so that is 2025, 24, 23. So I am going slightly in the descending order here because latest one is the latest first. So here you can see 2025, whatever the given, Evil Quartet, Ex-situ conservation, lantana, camera, dodo. So automatically that is the one, a simple one. Answer is the 4, how easily matched, because Evil Quartet is the one which is causing what? Diversity losses. So thereby we can eliminate that one and easily this is the answer which you can choose. Dodo is the one which we cannot preserve, that what we say, cryopreservation, because dodo already became extinct, right? The next, in the 2024, tropical regions show greatest level of species richness because, try to recall why is the region, earlier I said what are the reasons behind which they are able to get more number of species in the tropics. So one is latitudes have remained relatively long undisturbed. So relatively undisturbed, this is one correct statement. Tropical environments are more seasonal. So the carbid environments are more seasonal, that cannot be the one because this is the wrong, it is less seasonal. So more storage available in tropics, this is the correct one. And constant environments promote the niche specialization, this is the correct statement. Tropical environments are constant and predictable, yeah, this is also correct. So if you take this one, elimination of B is required. If you take elimination of B, automatically this is the only option wherein there is no B, that is the next one, right? Next question. These are regarded as a major cause of biodiversity. Overexploitation, coextinction, mutation, habitat loss or fragmentation, migration. So if you go in this angle, overexploitation is definitely a reason. Coextinction is a reason. Mutation is not a reason. Migration is also not a reason. So naturally you can see habitat loss and fragmentation, this is the reason. Now thereby if you see A, B, D, that is the second option. So list of endangered species given by what we say IUCN only. That GEAC is related with the gens, that is the one manipulation in India, that is a part of biotechnology applications, this one. WWF is nothing but World Wildlife Fund. So endangered species released by that one only officially. So again in 2024, observe this one, 2024, this is the third question we are coming here. So Robert May is the person who is a global head, species diversity, that is third option. Alexander von Humboldt, this person is the one species area relationship. And Paul Ehrlich, so outdoor plants are the one, Paul Ehrlich is rivet papera hypothesis. And David Tillman is the one, that is the one, obviously 3142. So if you say 3142, obviously the fourth option is the one, right? So 2024 CB, that CB, don't bother about that one, it is some other area partially they have conducted. It's not a regular exam for entire India. Only in some area these people wrote this question. So rainforest which used to cover more than 14% of the Earth's land, surface is now reduced to 6%. Yes, it is a correct one. Amazon rainforest has greatest biodiversity on Earth. Yes, both are correct. So since both are correct, this is the one which is answer for that. Now we are going to 2023. Observe that word Evil Quartet. So among the Evil Quartet, question observed among Evil Quartet means they are not giving all 4, only some of them. So obviously habitat loss and fragmentation is the one considered most important cause. Observe this word, most important. So the most important will be obviously habitat loss and fragmentation only. Thereby answer is the second one. Though the remaining are continuing for that one. So 2023 Manipur examination, within this one again same area they have asked how this will happen is climate changes do not, and here only what is not applicable here only. So naturally answer will be this. Next, same Manipur examination, same topic, this question is another one. So in rivet bobber hypothesis given by Paul Ehrlich compared the rivets of an aeroplane. Each rivet is a species. So thereby this is a question. Because entire aeroplane is an ecosystem, right? So that is how it is the one which is sample questions that are given previously here for this one, right? So thank you everybody. All the best for your examinations.